Ciao a tutti amici di GameSurf, siamo nella sede di Halifax, presentazione italiana di Tomb Raider, la prima in assoluto che ci dà la possibilità di testare il gioco. Avremo anche la possibilità di intervistare Megan Marie, Community Manager per Crystal Dynamics, che presenterà il titolo per noi oggi. Quindi tantissimo interesse dietro uno dei titoli più attesi del 2013, vi ricordiamo la data che è il 5 marzo del prossimo anno. Oltre a una presentazione con delle nuovissime sezioni di gioco che non sono state presentate alle 3, avremo anche la possibilità di testarlo in prima persona e appunto di intervistare Megan Marie. Quindi giornata molto importante, molto impegnativa, e continuate a seguirci perché l'intervista che cercheremo di fare a Megan Marie ci svelerà tantissime informazioni per quanto riguarda il gameplay e la storia che sta alle spalle del nuovo titolo con protagonista Lara Croft.
So, first of all, can you introduce yourself to our users?
Sure. My name is Megan Marie, and I'm the Community and Communications Manager at Crystal Dynamics, working on the Tomb Raider franchise.
So, the change that has been compared to Lara's past title is very marked.
Yes.
Yeah. How did you decide to choose this new path?
I think it was the result of a lot of internal studying and a lot of research. After the trilogy, the Crystal Trilogy, Legend, Anniversary, and Underworld wrapped up, we were at a really good point as a studio to look at the franchise and say, where do we take it now? And I think that the goal was really to provide something fresh but familiar, something that seems very new but also harkens back to what made Tomb Raider great back in 1996, and also to update Lara and make her a little bit more relatable and believable, and more of a character that you can grow with, and that you get to see her struggles and her triumphs and see what really motivated her growth into the Tomb Raider, into the hero that we know and love.
From the demo that you show until now, we have noticed some familiarity with the other titles, as Uncharted, for example.
Okay.
Voted to very spectacular action and cinematic action. Have you been inspired from some movies or other games?
I think
this way?
We take inspiration as a studio from many places. In terms of specifically Lara as a character, a lot of the inspiration came from the rebooting of the Batman and Bond franchises. So showing really iconic characters, showing their growth and showing their evolution, and again being there for those iconic moments for the first time. Instead of hearing about them or looking back on them, you get to experience it with those characters. You know, the comparisons to Uncharted it's not a bad thing. It's flattering. Uncharted and the studio does wonderful things in the action adventure space. I'd say though that we are competing more against ourselves as a studio, trying to make the best game that we possibly can, the best game of our careers. We're competing against player expectations and really trying to do something different and unique, especially for a Tomb Raider game. And you can see that in the implementation of new features such as the base camps and fast travel and XP systems and things that we're really trying to introduce some new mechanics to Lara. And then we're also, trying to compete against the genre and do something unique, again, against player expectations. But we think that what's really going to set us apart in terms of the genre is going to be the more mature take on storytelling, the emphasis on the evolution of the character and that character arc. We feel that those are going to be the things that make us unique in that space.
I can do this. Let's see if this thing still works.
Can you tell me something more in detail about the story? And not only about the story, but about the island, because I think that the island is some of the important character in the game.
It is. We've actually worked hard to make the island feel like a character. You're exactly right. So the reason that we have Lara on an island is so that we can support her growth as a character and have her in one persistent location versus globe-trotting, which isn't going to facilitate that arc as well. But the island is also just a really fun playground and a background for for adventure and for mystery. I actually am not going to go into specifics about the island because we want it to remain a mystery. We want you to experience it yourself. But again, I can say that the Dragon's Triangle and that mythology it's inspired by real mythology, and it needs to stay shrouded in secrecy till you play it. But there's a lot of exciting things that the team can do in that setting.
Okay, but you're talking about a smaller area and bigger area. Which type of roaming element there are in the game? I mean, there will be a lot of freedom when you will approaching the various game situations, or there are some specific type of approaching of the situation, like the shooting moment or the exploration moment?
Yeah, well, again, because we're trying to tell that story and tell that character arc, we need to have the story play out in a certain order. We don't want you going from one area to the next and experiencing things in a disjointed way. So the story itself is going to be linear in that progression. However, you're going to have some freedom in terms of how you upgrade Lara or when you find equipment, and that'll allow you some freedom of exploration in terms of when you want to revisit areas and how much you want to explore areas. That's up to player choice. Also, if you're just looking to plow through the campaign and experience the story, you can do that. But if you're a completionist like me and you want to explore every nook and cranny and discover everything you can about the island, you can also do that. So there's freedom of choice in that too.
And can you tell me something more about the experience you can gain in the game? I mean, you can upgrade your armor, you can upgrade your skills.
Yep.
Can you tell me something more about that indeed?
Yeah,
or not?
We're going to have to keep it kind of superficial for now just because we haven't gone too much into the mechanics. But what I can tell you is, like you saw, certain actions in the environment will allow you to gain XP, such as you saw Lara skinning the wolf after she killed it, or hunting and whatnot. So those will give Lara XP, and then when she's at a base camp, she can use them to upgrade her survival skills. And those are various things. The one that I showed you was the arrow retrieval. So if that's important to you, if you maybe use a lot of arrows when you're hunting the wolves because they're actually pretty squirmy and easy to get away from you, maybe then you want arrow retrieval so that you can pick those back up. When there's other options, so you can kind of tailor the experience to how you want to play. The equipment upgrades, those are also, we showed the example of how Lara's pry tool started cracking when she wanted to use it as a tool, which is interesting because they're very multifaceted. She can use it as a pry tool, but she can also use it as a handle in different situations. So that was one example of upgrading a piece of equipment. And eventually you saw that she had that really nice red axe. So that's part of the natural progression, and that's going to be strong enough to interact in different ways with the environment.
Perfect.
So hungry. I need to find something to eat. Sorry.
The engine of the game, you work with the new engine, use as Unreal Engine, or?
It's Crystal's proprietary engine.
Okay.
It's the one that we used in Legend Anniversary and Underworld.
Okay.
It had a really strong foundation for us to build upon. So the team's been doing some pretty exceptional things with it, and I think that you can see it in the work that they've done.
The last two questions is about DLC. What your idea about DLC, and do you think that the game will support the DLC after the release?
We did announce up on the Microsoft stage that we are going to have a timed exclusive DLC from Microsoft on the 360. It'll come to the other platforms after. I can't go into what type of content that's going to be.
I know.
However,
Yeah.
I do want to stress that from a studio perspective, it's not art, we are going to tell a very complete, satisfying story. We wouldn't, we wouldn't save the last 5 minutes of the movie for renting at your house. If you go to a movie, you want to experience the full blockbuster, and we would never take something out of the story that would leave you feeling unsatisfied. So that's, at least I can speak to a motto of DLC for the studio, but you'll have to wait to actually find out the content.
One of the developers said yesterday that this is not the last game about Lara.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the title came as a live arcade some years ago, probably. I don't know if you remember.
The Guardian of Light?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
loved it.
Was much appreciated by the audience and also the media.
Yes.
There will be the chance in the future to see a sequel?
We're fully.
I'm a fan of
Yeah,
Guardian.
I know. I loved it too, but we're fully focused on this new vision and this new franchise. So that direction is solidly where our focus is placed right now.
Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Bye.